Hey everybody, this is Romi with The Real Romi, and I am sitting here with my friend Corey. Hi Corey.
Hello.
We are going to have him speak up, project. I've come into his workspace. We're going to get into where I'm sitting. There are lots of guns behind me. There's energy drink in my hand.
We'll talk about these later.
Yes, and all of this is made by my friend Corey. So we're going to just jump right into this. You have convinced me that this will probably be a very boring conversation.
I'm a terrible interviewer, and I'm quiet, so I'm going to
project. Get it loud. Okay, I'm going to ask you a few questions. My interest in having a conversation with you was around entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be going off during the interview, by the way, because he's making guns in here.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
It should be fine.
It should be fine.
We'll be fine.
So I was really fascinated with his story because I know that you are self-made.
Yep.
For the majority self-taught.
Yep.
Everything you figured out in here, you figured out on your own.
Taught myself.
Okay, so let's just get into this. Where are you from? How did you land in Austin?
I'm from Idaho, a little state called Idaho. Grew up in Nampa, right outside of Boise. I kind of fell into this industry, and you guys can't see these right now, but there's a couple CNC machines over here, which I'm sure we'll get some shots of.
Yes.
But started working for a medical device company as kind of their deburr guy. So parts would come off the machines, I would deburr them, make sure they're all polished up, ready for the next process. And that's where I fell in love with these. I thought this was like witchcraft to me. I was like, I have to learn how these things work. So the company I was with, I was a young guy. I was 18 at the time. They weren't teaching me, and they were like, "Get out of here, kid! Go polish the parts." And I was like, "No, I'm going to figure this out." So I would go home, study, read books. Like YouTube was kind of popping up at the time. Just teaching myself that.
There you go.
I love YouTube. So I just taught myself as much as I could, and I basically learned enough to where I bullshitted my way into a job at an aerospace company as a machinist. Got the job. We did stuff like Boeing, Rolls-Royce jet engines, NASA.
You had never worked in any of this before?
No. I was a very green machinist at the time.
Okay.
So dove into that, and what I found was when I push myself into a position where I have to learn, I learn very quickly.
Okay.
So I kind of purposely put myself in those positions. Got that job, did that for about a year, learned a lot very quickly, and then a gun company, back in Boise, Idaho, called Primary Weapon Systems, they were like, come machine with us. So I was like, oh, guns, this will be fun. Didn't know a lot about them, to be honest with you. I grew up with guns, but didn't know the ins and outs and the workings. Worked there for about 3 years.
Learning how?
Learning kind of the same way I did at the aerospace place. Mm-hmm. Just started teaching myself. That's where I started teaching myself CAD, which is it's called computer aided design. And I started teaching myself how to design my own little goofy parts on the weekends, and I'd kind of run those. And then out of the blue, I got a call from Jesse James out here in Austin, and he had got my number through a friend of a friend and was like, hey, I'm starting a gun company. Come out here and work for me, and came out here, did that interview, got the job.
Is that what brought you here?
That's what brought me to Austin, yep. So moved out here to Austin. Him and I did the gun thing for about a year. He had like 3 or 4 other guys doing the West Coast choppers still. Mm-hmm. And it was good for a bit, and then we started clashing a bit, creative differences. So split off there, worked for another gun company for about a year. And mind you, during this time, at 18 years old, I was like, I'm going to eventually have my own place. Mm-hmm. Like that was always the goal. Yeah, that was always the goal. Learn enough to be able to give this. So everything was a stepping stone. Worked for that other gun company for about a year, and then eventually had enough to put my first down payment on one of these machines.
You had to have the machine.
Yes. Yeah. You have to have a CNC machine to start.
And then this was the building that you started in?
This is the yep. I've been here for 10 years.
10 years here.
Maybe 9, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Okay, so you moved here to work for him.
Yep.
Kind of creatively needed to go onto your own.
Yep.
Saved up enough money doing this. Didn't go to school for any of this.
No school.
Bullshitted your way into the positions you got, and then took everything from those jobs to learn.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, it was all self-taught. So
Yeah.
I would take little pieces from the jobs.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like, you're the young guy, go.
Yeah.
Go do your little thing that you need to do. And most shops are broken up into categories. So you have an engineer that just designs. So he sits there and makes little parts and engineers it. Then you have machinists that just machine the parts. Then you have metrology that just does the measurements.
You're doing
Then
it
you
all.
have sales that just do. So everything's broken up. And I was like, I want to learn every aspect of this so I can do everything on my own.
Are you doing everything on your
I do
own?
everything on my own. Yeah,
Everything.
I do the marketing, the website building, the manufacturing, the designing, the everything. Yeah, social
All of
media,
it.
all of it. Yeah, I've had employees in the past, and it just what I found was it took away the joy of what I do.
Okay.
It is a move to grow, but it took away from the joy of this, and like I love coming in here every day and just creating anything I want.
So you've been doing this. What is the name of your company?
Aeronautics.
Okay.
Aeronautics.
Aeronautics. Where did that name come from?
I love aerospace. I wanted to be a fighter pilot growing up, so I've always had a passion for aerospace. And then my first son's middle name is Knox, so I just smashed them together.
Okay, Aeronautics.
Yeah.
Aeronautics. And 10 years now
10 years, yeah.
of running this.
Yeah.
Do you love it?
I love it.
Is it everything you thought it would be?
More, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're also a father.
Yep.
We are in Texas.
Yeah.
I'll ask a few controversial questions if you don't mind into this.
Of course, we're here.
You're a dad with guns. You
Yes.
make guns.
Yeah.
How is that, and what is your safety on that in terms of your kids being a dad here?
It's kind of funny raising my kids around guns because they've literally been raised around these,
Yeah.
to where it's like they know safety, they know they know everything they need to know about guns. They're not really interested either. You
No.
know, it's like whatever dad or whatever parent does, it's like
They're
Yeah.
not. They have no interest.
that's lame.
So have they been raised with like the safety? Do they shoot guns?
Yeah, we'll go out and shoot. And
So they know how.
Yep. They're very
How old are your
talented.
kids?
I have a 16-year-old son, an 11-year-old son, and a 5-year-old daughter.
And your safety around that? Any advice for any parents with guns?
Find someone. I mean, if you want to teach, I know a lot of single parents, especially moms that don't. Single mom, do you have a gun?
Yeah. Remember, I came to you and asked you to.
You have shot with me.
I have shot with you, but
Yes.
I came to you and I'm asking you this because I'm sure parents want to know. Being alone at home with a kid,
Yep.
as a single mom, wanting to feel like I can protect myself. I did
Yeah.
finally get a gun, right? And then I came to you because I wanted to feel like I knew how to use my gun
Yeah.
or comfortable around a gun. I didn't want to have a gun in the house that I also didn't know how to
Yeah.
fucking use. So I think it's important, at least for me, that I went to somebody who could show me how to do it.
That's what I would say.
Okay.
Find someone, and there's a lot of local places. You can go to any gun range, and they'll teach you. There's instructors. If you know someone personally, that's the best route.
Right.
Because they kind of slowly work you into it and go through the basics of safety and gun handling. Don't point it, even if it's not a loaded, just
Mhm.
basic stuff, which you and I went through.
Yes, we did.
But I think it's a great move for especially a single parent, single mother, to have that,
Mhm.
to have some kind of protection for yourself. And I know every state's different.
Yeah.
We're in a state where you can do whatever you want with guns, which is great.
Does that have a big thing to do with why you're in Texas for your
Not
job?
necessarily. Idaho is very similar with
Okay.
open laws, open gun laws. That is probably a reason I've stayed here.
Okay.
I wouldn't probably go manufacture in California.
That's what I was
There'd
curious.
be a lot.
Yeah,
There's
that would-
already enough red tape when you're manufacturing firearms in any state. California just makes it so much better. So,
What makes it easiest about doing this here in Texas?
I guess the community up here. I mean, everyone's for the most part. We're in Austin, which is kind of diverse, which is nice in a way. But people are pretty open to guns here. There's not a lot of resistance, which is nice.
There's not. I think it's more encouraged here.
Yes.
Yeah, so that would make sense for your business. Do you have a lot of local support? Do you feel that Austin, Texas, is that where you get a lot of your business, or where and how are you getting your business?
It's all over. Funny enough, I sell a lot in California. And when I say that, I'm not selling full builds to California. I sell a lot of accessories. I sell a lot of parts. I designed the business to where it can be purchased in any state. So I make like the only registered part on an AR-15, for instance, is the lower receiver. I make the lower receivers, but I make everything else as well. So anyone from California can buy most anything. There are regulations on like certain foregrips and things like that. But I wanted to design a company where it was widespread, and it is.
They could just order pieces.
So oddly enough, I sell probably the most in California.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Around this question, what are your kind of laws and rules around who you sell to, considering we live in a society and world where a lot of people have access to guns that they shouldn't have access to?
It's not so much my laws as much as the country's.
Okay.
Everyone has to go through a background check. You can't just...
So purchasing with you, do they have to go through that? I'm asking completely naive.
Yeah, you would have to.
Okay.
I mostly do custom, so like when I sell to people, it's kind of people I know already.
Okay.
The accessories, you kind of have to know your state laws. Every state has different laws, so learn those.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, everything will go through a background check.
Okay, so you feel confident whenever something leaves your shop that you've made about whose hands it is and where it's going.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
Okay, in terms of like safety.
Yes.
Okay. And in terms of your message or your story or the branding behind you, what is that then?
My message, man, that's a weird question.
It's not a weird question. Kind of like what makes you stand out as opposed to other people that are making guns right now?
This is going to sound pretentious, but for me, I'm kind of an artist. Like this is my art.
It's art.
Yeah. So
they look like art. So that's, I mean, you look at your guns, they're beautiful.
Thank you.
They don't look like just like, they're very beautiful.
And that was kind of the point.
Okay.
I didn't want to do something where I'm like just mass producing. How many, I want to get out 1,000 a month kind of thing, make a ton of profit. I didn't care about that.
Okay.
Money was not my goal. It was just creating my art and being able to continue to do that, which I have. And I do a lot of other things. Not just the guns. We started.
So how did you get into doing this now? Because this is a newer project.
This is we just launched this year.
They are delicious.
So it's kind of a gun inspired or 2A inspired, Second Amendment inspired drink. So the only thing we put on it is "shall not be infringed" on the back. Me and my friend Drew Caston, he's my best friend, and we were sitting in my office one day and we're like, we drink energy drinks like crazy. And we're like, dude, let's just start one. And we're like, literally the next week we started an LLC, and we kind of did a sister company. So it's called Nox Energy, which Aeronox, and then Nox Energy is kind of a branch off of what I'm already doing.
I need to just hit something that you just said for people listening. You sat in here and decided, I want to start this, and then you did it.
We just did it.
Okay. Most of us have an idea of something we want to do, and we don't do it. Most of society says, I want to create guns, I want to make this, and they don't do it. You are doing it. You actually, you just do it. What is your advice to anybody?
That's exactly the advice. Just do it. So many people have ideas, so many people have dreams, and especially at a young age, everyone's like, I want to do this, and everyone says, I want to, but they don't take action. And it's really not hard to do, to just take action. And that doesn't mean it's going to succeed. And I think that's people's fear is, oh, what if this fails? People are going to make fun of me. I can't tell you how many people were like, dude, you're an idiot for doing it. Wanting to do what you want to do.
Right.
Because I would tell everyone, I was like, this is what I'm doing. I'm starting my own business. It's going to look like this. It's going to be pretty. And everyone's like, you're a fool. You're a fool. And I'm like, I'm going to do it.
So you start an energy drink.
Yep.
It's out.
Yes.
Speak a little bit on this. What was your idea around this?
Me and Drew and I.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I'm from Idaho.
Speak up.
Drew and I, like I said, we just drank energy drinks frequently, and we're like, man, I like this about this one, and I like this about this one. I don't like the sugar contents of this one, and we're like, let's just do our own, and let's put exactly what we want in it.
What did you want in it? What's in it? What am I drinking?
It's zero sugar, and you've tasted it.
It does taste. I don't drink energy drinks, and the first thing I did when I pulled it out was turned it over and looked at the back because I want to see what's in it, and it has all this good stuff in it.
Cordyceps mushrooms, collagen,
biotin,
BCAAs,
natural caffeine, electrolytes. So on a hot day like today, great before I go to the gym.
And then we kept the caffeine content low, so we're at 150 milligrams. Where
Okay.
most are at 200 to 300. We're like, man, it's just too much. So we just put it literally exactly what we wanted. We found a company that would formulate it.
Where is it being made?
It was formulated in California. It's being made in Colorado.
Okay.
Yep. So
And where are you selling it?
this is all local right now. So this wall is stacked almost to the ceiling, which you can't really see behind me, and we just locally are just whittling it down until we get rid of this batch, and then we're gonna go after heavy distribution after that. So we're gonna try to get into like grocery stores.
Mm-hmm.
Right now we're at local gas stations, gyms. Gyms are huge. They drink
that's
this
a huge
stuff
thing
like
in
water.
Austin.
Yep.
You're out there doing this yourself? You're the
Sure.
person getting it into the shops?
Yeah.
There's no team.
Nope, just us two. Just
Full
us two.
control of all of it.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have anything along the way that did throw you back or almost make you quit in this journey?
No, never.
Never.
No. There's hardships for sure. I just don't think in those terms
At all. So it's not an option.
I never have. No.
It's not an option. Something goes wrong, quitting
Figure it
is not
out.
an option.
Yeah, figure out another route. There's
Okay.
so many other routes. I think people do get discouraged by that. Like I was saying, like people will try, and it doesn't work out, and they go, I tried. I'll just go back to the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
That works for people.
Right.
It just didn't work for me, and that's not an option for me.
Not an option. Okay, my other question then for those listening, because a lot of times we see somebody who makes this a dream come true. Financially, how did you get yourself going?
I got creative
Okay.
because I didn't have.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we are like, oh, well, if daddy and mommy give you money, then
Sure.
sure, we'd all be making companies,
I
you
had,
know?
I had plenty of friends
Yeah.
with parents that had money.
And they
they're
start
like,
their companies.
Yeah,
But
I didn't have that option.
So tell me how you got this going.
So I started this with a family as well. So we had 2 children, me and my now ex-wife.
Mhm.
2 children at the time, and I just got creative. So in social media, it was growing
Mhm.
rapidly at the time. So Instagram was kind of popping off, and that makes me sound so old.
We are.
We're old.
I'm older than you, but yes.
It's fine.
It's fine.
And I started a page, funny enough, a machining page,
Mhm.
because like no one was doing this. No one was showing like how things are manufactured and like how these robots work. And I was like, man, people need to see this. So I started a page, and the name is ridiculous. It's called Badass Machinists. And I was just I started putting my content up, and then I started putting like other people's content around the world. You know, like people in Japan and people in Germany, they were sending me their videos of machining, and I just would pick the best ones and throw them up there, and it just grew fast. So this thing grew to like 180,000 followers, like pretty fast. And
That's impressive. Building a social media like following without any type of celebrity or something connected, just like organically, is
Yeah.
really difficult.
yeah,
So the fact that
Well,
you were
this
able
was
to
just
do that,
new.
that people just were interested in it, right? No
Very
one's
new.
showing them this.
right. Most people don't know what these are.
I know.
Most of your followers may not.
Yeah.
And it is cool. Like when people see it, they're like, "Whoa!" And
Yeah.
like most everything comes from this. Like most everything comes from a CNC machine at
Yeah.
some point. So it's fascinating. I was fascinated. I'm like, other people probably will be too.
I'm fascinated by it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is
So it grew
fascinating.
fast.
Yeah.
With that, because I built a presence in the machining community, I suppose, I got this first machine. I got half off with Haas, which is the only American-made CNC machines. They're based out of California as well. So I worked out a deal with them where they were like, "Hey, if you promote our brand, we'll give you half off your first machine." And I'm like, "Yeah,"
Okay.
which is like a $50,000
Yeah.
markdown. Yeah. So that's why I was able, and like that's what I was saying. Is like these things are expensive. I can't just go out. And I tried
That's
to get
insane. Like,
I tried to get loans, and every bank was like,
no.
"Bye, get out of here." So I got creative. You know, I was like, "What's another route I can go?" And that just happened to work out.
And then from there,
From there, I just
is it by not having a team, not paying anyone out, paying yourself, doing the work?
yeah.
Like tips for somebody who wants to like get something going.
I guess it would depend on the industry you're in, but
Yeah.
but the only thing I would say is like just start, just do it, because a lot of people just don't. They're scared of failure, and you should be.
Did you
And
have
if
any
you
fear
fail,
of
that's
failures?
great.
Do you now?
No, I don't have any fear of failures.
No.
This might fail. I don't care.
The drink.
Yeah,
And you don't care.
it's great. I don't think it will.
The confidence are
Yeah,
right.
it's
But if
great.
it does, how would you? It's fine.
It's okay.
And will you
on to the next.
continue to create more things?
Yeah, I'll never stop. I love this.
Your brain just wants to make things.
Yeah.
And create things.
Yeah.
And this is going to sound dumb because I don't come from this world. I'm fascinated by it. I'm interested by it. I've asked you, like, I want to come in here and learn how to make a gun, right? I think it's fascinating that you put these metals and stuff into a machine and you create these pieces. You were telling me you design them yourself, right, for the visual beauty of the guns.
Sure.
And then you piece them together. You just taught yourself how to do this.
Yeah.
And then turned it into art.
Yeah.
And it was inspiring to me because, like I said, so many right now, there is so many excuses.
Yes.
Left and right now. And the younger generation, so many excuses. Okay, for starting companies. And I think we grew up, at least I did, with like my father. He learned to build houses. He came back from the war. He went to the library. He got a book. He figured out how to do math.
Yeah.
And he started building homes.
Yeah.
Self-taught. So there's a respect that I've always had for when people, like, if there's a will, there's a way, figure out how to do it. And I don't think that, like, our children's generation
it's tough nowadays.
Is doing that or hears stories of this or sees these types of stories. That's why it's important to me because I think everything is so already now, fast forward to build something on social media.
Yeah. I mean, everyone wants to be a YouTuber. Everyone wants the easy route and the easy money. And I would say to the younger generation, just do the old school way. Work hard because like no one's doing that now. Everyone's looking for that easy route. And if you can just do that old school hustle and grind way, you're going to be so far ahead of everyone else.
Yeah. And you've just stuck to this now.
Just stuck to it. Yeah.
What's your greatest joy of it?
Yes.
What?
I get to sit down with you and do a little fun podcast, and there's really no restraints to what I can do, what I can create. If I have an idea in the shower one day, I can come to work and create it. Yeah.
You don't work for anyone else?
No.
You don't have a boss?
No.
How does that work in terms of, being a parent?
I guess, going back, I kind of wanted to go back to this with like the younger generation. My goal as a father is to raise my kids to be good humans, to go out in the world, be good humans, but they can watch what I've done.
Yes.
And it's not easy. I don't just sit here and like hang out all day and money just flows in. I have to work.
Yeah.
And they know that. But they get to watch dad continue to work and like work hard and not just like have things flow in, like dad works and they get to see that. So I guess just be their example. That's the best thing I can do as a father.
I mean, I think as parents, like it is the biggest thing is like they say your kids are watching you and not necessarily what we say to them, but like what we are doing is what they're watching. That's how they're going to take away. And my daughter the other day, I got her a haircut and it was not that cheap. She was like, "You're going to keep working, Mom, for this, right?" And I was like, "Yes, at least you're aware that I'm working for the money that goes into these things. Like that your concept is that I am working, right? That you see Mom working.
Yeah,
money doesn't just happen. Like you understand that. So like I appreciate those moments.
Yeah.
So your kids are seeing you create something. Anything is possible. It wasn't handed to you.
Yep.
This wasn't something Mommy and Daddy left you or any of that. That anybody who has a dream or an idea can make it happen.
Yeah.
And that we can still have these types of careers. And I think in society, just with mental health, being a parent and being able to be available for your family and your children and not worked down by something that makes you miserable creates a really good life.
People get complacent, they get comfortable, and they kind of just stay.
Right.
And then there becomes a point where it's like, man, I'm already 35 or 40 or whatever it is, and it's too late.
Right.
It's not at all.
No.
You can start at any time. And in fact, like a lot of these top CEOs didn't start their companies till mid-40s, They're billionaires, which it's not about money, but it's not too late.
What's your goal for this?
I don't know if I necessarily have one.
Okay.
I never did. I honestly didn't have a business plan. A lot of banks were like, "What's your business plan?"
They're like, "We're not giving you money."
Yeah, exactly. Which like rightfully so. That's fine. I understand. But I didn't really. I just knew I wasn't going to quit.
Okay.
I knew what I wanted, and I guess that was my business plan. I didn't write things out because I think a lot of that's kind of fabricated anyway.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to make this much this year, and this is no one knows.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't want to, I guess, bullshit that. Even though bullshit is.
So you don't have like a vision right now for it. You're just in it.
Just in it. Yeah.
You want the energy drinks to kind of take off.
Yeah. So what I guess the vision for
Uh-huh.
Aeronox is to keep it custom, keep it high end. Let this be the high consumption product.
Mm-hmm.
If not, no worries. Next route.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of the vision. Is to
Can anybody order these online?
Yep. NoxEnergyDrink.com.
And do you ship
All over.
all
Yep.
over?
Yep.
And
All
then
over.
in terms of your guns,
You can
you
order
ship everywhere
online.
online?
Yep. You can order online. Yeah.
Custom?
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
custom for the most
Everything is custom
part. Yeah.
for the most part.
Basically, I make every piece of the gun, so you can kind of Frankenstein your own little creation together, and then go from there.
Okay. I have my last controversial question for you
Cool.
because we're speaking on guns.
Love it. I don't know if I'll be the perfect guy to answer this question.
But it's just a question.
Okay.
In terms of being a parent,
Yes.
in terms of society, the world we live in, what is your, being in the industry, what would be your vision for how to control the mass shootings that we're dealing with?
Oh, you're hitting me with
I
that.
am. I'm going to end on this.
Cool.
I'm sorry.
First, I don't think anyone has an answer.
Okay,
for that.
that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think there's nothing I'm going to say that's like this is going to for sure stop
Do you
it.
have any ideas?
I don't think it's ever. I mean, it's not one of those things that's just going to go away. Guns in this country are not just going to go away. It's something we have to live with.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I think we have to find an appropriate route to help facilitate that in the best way. Like I said, there's more guns than there are people in the U.S. They're not going anywhere. There will be more regulations. The rules, laws are changing constantly. But as far as stopping, I don't know.
And I mean, in terms of just like, I am a gun owner, right? I'm for guns. I talk to you all the time about being fascinated by them and wanting to learn and having the right, which I love here in Texas, to protect myself.
Yeah.
But also wanting to make sure as my daughter gets older that I do teach her.
Yep.
Her father has guns. I have guns that
Yep.
she has safety and knowledge around them. I don't want to just be ignorant to like there's a gun in the house and my child has no idea about gun safety. I think it is a matter, and I don't want to get too into it, of more mental health.
I was just going to say, I think that's kind of the go-to, but it is a real thing.
It is a real thing.
There's a mental health crisis for sure in this country, and most of these shootings
are that.
And
these are never going to go away.
These aren't going to go away. I think educating. I can't get into mental health because I don't.
Right.
I'm not an expert at that.
Okay.
But I think that's huge. There's a mental health crisis for sure. But educate your kids, educate yourself on gun safety. You hear a lot of the stories of bad guys with guns.
Yeah.
You don't hear a lot of the good guys with guns.
Right.
And that's big in the media. I mean, there are a lot of good guys with guns that stop a lot of bad situations, and it's just not talked about. Not nearly as much, I would say.
No. Well, nothing good like that makes the news. It's always going to be the worst thing that happened, and this is always going to be, and my question then, in terms of what they say, and this, I'm going to stop on this after, but I know it is a controversial question in our world right now. Well, elections are coming and everything's happening, so I'm going to ask.
Okay.
But regular just guns to protect yourself, yes, everyone's kind of more on board with that. More of these guns necessary to just anyone that's not in the army or anything like that?
No, not at all. AR-15s are an amazing tool for home defense. Honestly, that's the one I would probably go with for home defense. That's why the military uses it. It's a very versatile tool. It's quick, it's easy, it's accurate, and pistols are great. They're very concealable. You can't really hide an AR-15 in your nightstand.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all situational for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it just depends what you're comfortable with as a shooter. So there's a lot of people that try to shoot pistol that can't shoot them, whereas an AR-15, easy. So it just depends on the shooter.
So advice to other women, other moms like me that are in our home protecting ourselves, would you say then we should spend time figuring out which one we are most comfortable with and work well with so that we know, as opposed to just picking.
Yeah, be comfortable with what you're shooting.
Yeah.
Don't be scared of it. Respect it for sure. I think people have a fear of guns, and there is a healthy fear for sure. But if you respect it and you have knowledge behind it, there's nothing to be worried about. It's a tool to help protect yourself.
I was terrified of them.
Sure.
Terrified. I'm from California. I've been in Texas now for 6 years.
Okay.
Things have changed.
Yeah.
Things change.
You educated yourself.
I have a different, I'm not being fed the same message since I have been since a child. So once you remove yourself from that, you're able to kind of like open your eyes to new ideas, other people's perspectives, right? Like I'm open to that. I'm not stuck in the way that I was raised. So I've been open to understanding it and learning. And then when my ex-husband, my child's father started getting into guns and let me know he was, I freaked out.
Yeah.
I was really scared. I was like, oh my gosh, this is not happening. And then the only thing I could do was go get one and figure it out for myself. Yeah. And now I've gone shooting many times. I've shot guns with you. I shoot on my own. My relationship with it is so different.
Yeah.
My idea of it is so different. My fear, it's just changed so much by getting comfortable and learning.
Well, I think we live in a world now too where it's a mess, and people are like, "Wow, government's not protecting us anymore. No. They're not going to come save me with this." Or the police, reaction times.
That's what I'm saying.
You've seen these school shootings where it's like,
how long it takes for...
Yeah. So get educated, learn this stuff. And there's a lot of, funny enough, Californians that during this pandemic were like, maybe I should get a gun.
I know.
Like maybe the world isn't saving me like I thought it was. So, and that's not to say, go out and get a gun, everybody, and like learn about it, be comfortable with it, and just understand that it's a tool to protect yourself in a situation where the government's not going to, or your local police are not going to.
No.
It's going to come down to you, especially if you're a mother to children.
Well,
protect them.
A good friend of mine, a year ago, there was a shooting next door to her house here in Austin. It was all over the news. Shooter came up from San Antonio, was killing everybody. I don't know if you remember hearing this, but he was next door to her house and shot the neighbors. She was home with her children, without her husband in town for work, and no protection.
Yeah.
Immediately the family went to, we're going to need to now have one in the home because this is the reality of the world we live in. And like what you said when I came here and realized that almost everybody in Texas has one, if I'm walking around without one, that doesn't feel good to me.
Yeah. It doesn't give you that peace of mind.
It doesn't. So I've appreciated like your knowledge in it, your safety in it, seeing a father with his kids, you make them. It's fascinating. I'm fascinated by your work ethic, and your ability to create and be self-made. What is your message, just ending this, to anybody out there that wants to start something and is afraid?
Just start.
Okay.
Just do it. Don't worry about failure. Go out and create an LLC. Go start it. Whether it's a clothing company or a drink company. We didn't know anything about drinks.
Yeah.
We were just like, let's do it. Let's research it. And we researched it and found a company, and we're like, this wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
We had 10,000 cans in 3 months after formulation, after samples, and we didn't know what we were doing. We just did it.
Yeah.
So just do it. Go out there and start it.
Just do it. Proud American man, just do it.
Go home,
and where can everybody follow you on Instagram, and what is your website so they can shop and buy their guns and their energy drinks?
Aeronox, AEROKNOX on Instagram, noxenergydrinks.com, or the social media as well. We're kind of in a war. We're in a war against that as well with social media and just firearms in general.
Okay.
I'm shadow banned like crazy.
Oh, are you?
Oh, bad. Yeah, in every gun company, honestly is.
Okay.
It's tough. It's tough. And I got into this industry knowing it was going to be difficult. There's going to be red tape. There's going to be resistance. And it's just gotten worse over the years with big tech. And we're doing the best we can. Mm-hmm. But it's the nature of the beast, I suppose.
Well, everybody go on and support. Look at his guns. I'll do a little video of this so everyone can kind of see this shop and what he's doing. And that wasn't bad, right?
I mean, I'll let them decide.
Thank you, Corey.
Yep.